Cheers, guys. We made it. Cheers, honey. The day has arrived.
Bubblies.
Yep, champagne is in order to celebrate. We are on our way to Montana to pick up our new expedition vehicle. Pretty big news.
It's kind of like, I kept saying on the way over here, I can't believe we're actually doing this.
Yes,
we
and
did it.
Then we're going to proceed to drive around the world in said vehicle. But it has been an amazing process. What we wanted has changed several times over.
Yeah.
You know, like depending on which way the wind is blowing that day is what we're looking at buying. But we bought a 2007 Mitsubishi Fuso FG140 with a 13-foot box, and it is an awesome machine. And we're pretty excited to go see this machine in person because for the past 2 months we've only been looking at it on pictures.
Yeah, like 30 photos, and every night in bed, Ben looks through each one and
You zoom in like, oh wow, did you know this does that? So we thought it'd be great. We're here in Anchorage at the airport and the Alaska Airlines boardroom. If you don't have like a boardroom membership, it is the best money.
It's the best money you'll ever spend if you fly more than like 5 times the two of you together.
Exactly. The drinks are nice, but then you have the snacks, you have the comfortable seats.
Wi-Fi.
They let us come into the conference room to drink our bubbly.
And record.
Yep. So let's take you through this process of how we got to this point. It all started January 25th of 2017 in Quartzsite, Arizona. Right now, I'm going to give you a little peek into what might be in store for us or what we're planning. But right now, we're thinking an expedition vehicle and RVing around the world within the next 12 to 18 months.
So it feels amazing, actually, to have followed through on this.
Yeah.
I think there were days, weeks, maybe even months where we weren't sure if we were going to pull this off and make it happen.
Well, there's a lot has happened. We called the shot of 18 months, and we're pretty much right around
16.
18 months right now. But a lot has happened in the past year and a half.
Yeah.
You know, between
We
a lot
got
of
thrown
family.
a lot of curveballs this year.
But the first stop on our journey was All-Terrain Warrior and Sportsmobile up in Fresno. And we were very impressed because at that time, we were thinking we wanted a vehicle that could fit into a shipping container.
Yeah. But I will say, too, that having the opportunity to visit all of these places, the fact that we were on the road and that lent us the ability to do so, it really helped.
This priceless knowledge was gained.
It was. And even though we ended up buying something used instead of new, seeing all of the new ones helped us to know, because we had to make compromises.
Yep.
You know, to fit in our budget, to
fit
get
the
the
needs
size
of the
that we
journey.
needed for the journey. And it helped us to have seen all of these different vehicles and know where we could compromise and let things go.
And what ultimately
and what
mattered.
had to be done.
Next up, since we are on the topic of containerable vehicles, we got to see the Earth Cruiser. We met up with Lance and Michelle outside of Los Angeles, and we actually borrowed our friend's car and drove like 6 hours just for this opportunity. And the best part is we got to go for a ride in the vehicle, and that really...
And we're not talking a drive down the highway. We're talking like they crawled up the side of a mountain in this Fuso.
And that was our first time in a Fuso, which we ended up buying. And we were so impressed with it. But yeah. And Lance, Michelle, thank you so much for spending the time with us. Well, next up, the one that got away.
Oh, no. On my birthday, no less.
So it was a Mitsubishi Fuso FM, not an FG, which
bigger
is
body.
Bigger. But this was a gorgeous camper built by, it was an A-Trek FM 260 built by a gentleman who has since passed away, Darren Fink.
Yeah.
And he was a
Amazing
master crafter of vehicles, and the interior, like,
hands down,
set the bar very high and set unrealistic expectations, truthfully, for what type of interior we could expect on these vehicles.
Yeah.
So, moving right along, let's talk about ETL Overland. They make vehicles. I think they're like a sister company to Plan B out of the Salt Lake City area. They do a lot of Humvee and military vehicle work. And this camper was really appealing because they set it up where the bed dropped over the dinette, which was a great double use of space.
Incredible use of space.
It just ended up not being the right vehicle for us.
Next, we actually ended up coming home to Alaska. We stopped into ETL Overland on our way home, and as luck would have it, we ended up bumping into a couple of people who were up here with EVs.
Which really isn't all that big of a coincidence, because a lot of people in expedition vehicles come to Alaska for the obvious reasons. So the first couple that we met, their blog or brand would be called 2If Overland. And Martin and Bethany built their expedition vehicle through Global Expedition Vehicles.
And it is gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
It's probably one of the most beautiful ones we've ever seen.
An LMTV 6x6 chassis.
That thing's a beast.
Oh, I was so impressed that we started considering it. But
especially after he explained like what it's capable of. Like they sit in salt water for, they test the metal in salt water and prove that it won't rust if you sat it there for 20 years.
It's designed to run on the worst fuels and around.
And made to like bust through barricades.
Yeah.
So if you hit something, it won't damage your vehicle.
That really pulled at my man strings there, like, that's a serious truck.
And it pulled at my safety strings.
Yeah. We didn't do any videoing with them, but if you want to learn more about their vehicle, Dylan Magastar did an interview with them. It's a great video, and you can see more of their vehicle.
Later that summer in Seward, we saw a B-mobile parked kind of in this back lot in Seward. And so we drove past it and got their Facebook information, and I messaged them. And it turned out to be a couple. He's from Germany, and she's from Brazil. And you very likely have seen the video we did with them.
It's like one of our biggest videos.
Yeah. We had the most amazing time with them. Just really hit it off, and there were some really cool features of their vehicle that I just loved.
What was the coolest is that it was a B-mobile, and those are manufactured in Europe.
Yeah.
And we didn't have the opportunity to see those on a day-to-day basis. Well, moving right along, we had to go see Global Expedition Vehicles.
We'd be selling ourselves short if we didn't.
Yeah, if you're doing all this research on vehicles, you need to see the best manufacturer in the United States. And I can honestly say that they are the best in the United States.
Absolutely.
I don't know. There's some quality manufacturers in Europe, but GXV in the US, hands down, top notch.
So once we did all of this research and looked at all the vehicles that were available, then we started looking for ours. And we spent hours looking on Expedition Portal in the United States, mobile.de and out of Germany,
that's
Gumtree out of the
website.
UK. Yeah, fantastic. Next one that we looked at, and you guys all saw pictures of this one because we got pretty serious about it, was in Britain, just outside of London.
Yep.
And it was actually a Sprinter van chassis. But it was built like an EV, not like a Sprinter van.
Yeah, it was like the Sprinter cab, and then a box on the back, so it was wider.
And it was four-wheel drive.
It didn't have that full-blown Expedition vehicle look, but it was four-wheel drive.
Was incredible.
It was beautiful and immaculate. It turns out that the pictures that were on the website were at the most flattering angles possible, and Jim got over there and he saw like the panels were warped, there was rust, there was
water damage inside the rig.
It was not.
And the vehicle had been in an accident that they didn't, mention, and that hadn't been properly repaired.
Exactly. So
really
we dodged a bullet on that one.
Yeah. So lesson learned there: have somebody go inspect it for you and make sure it's.
Which is kind of ironic because we didn't have somebody inspect the Fuso that we just bought, but Dave, we established a great relationship with him.
Months of talking and
he took it into a shop.
To the shop for us.
Yeah, so the vehicle has a clean bill of health.
Well, and we kind of have to tell the story about the one we ended up with. Ben kept bringing it back to me. He's like, honey, you've got to look at this thing. The chassis is amazing. And I started looking at the bones of the vehicle.
Well, you've said to me something like, you keep bringing this up.
Yeah.
So I respect your opinion. Let's see what the hell you're talking about. And you looked a little deeper and you saw the truck. It's registered in the U.S., which was a bonus.
35,000 miles, so it's hardly even broken in.
Exactly. The
and it's
components
the
used
truck
inside.
for driving around the world.
And in a couple years, we can put a new box on the back of it.
They didn't skimp on cost for any of the systems they installed in the rig. It had all of the things cassette toilet, diesel stove, hot water heaters, like, perfect kind of hot water heater for this.
Dave built and chose an incredible vehicle.
All the right stuff.
Yep. So I guess you're curious about this vehicle, and I think we should show it to you. But we got to
get there.
Yeah. So we're in Anchorage now. Let's head to Livingston, Montana.
Oh, look at you. You're so cute.
Once again, it's your Lost Airlines flight number 98 with service to Seattle, and welcome aboard.
Okay, moment of truth, guys.
Do you like it?
There's our new home on wheels. This is a big moment. We have been staring at pictures for months.
The same 30 pictures.
Yes. Dave, I can't thank you enough for everything.
You are welcome. This is going to be quite a journey for you guys.
This is it.
This is it. In the flesh.
Wow, so much to take in and so much to show you guys. I really hate to do this to you.
Oh, here we go.
But we're gonna save like the tour for another video because it's gonna be such an amazing moment worthy of its own video. So thanks for hanging with us today as we traveled here to Montana and hearing our story about the process of finding our new vehicle to drive around the world. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And that's a wrap. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
See you tomorrow.
All the boxes, almost all of them, have arrived. And the process of unpacking these is going to be interesting. Did we bring too much, honey?
Time will tell.